Today, Badajoz is a fairly typical Spanish city with an old quarter centered around a town square with its cathedral and surrounded by modern urban developments. Hidden amongst the 20th century apartments is a clue to Badajoz's past. Vast fortress walls and bastions hint at a time of different fortunes for the city. In the 1800s, Badajoz was of significant strategic importance. Situated as it was, in southern Spain close to the Portuguese border, defending one of the main roads across into Spain. In fact, in 1812, it was to become the scene of one of the most infamous episodes in British military history. At the time, the town was occupied by the French, but Wellington needed to take it if he was to advance into Spain. The fortress town was of a modern design and boasted some formidable defences. The west of the town was defended by a long, curved wall that was lined with 7 bastions, each of which was a significant fortification in its own right, and had a score of guns providing the other bastions with covering fire. The north of the city was protected by the River Guadiana, the only approach being across a long stone bridge, which was also heavily defended by guns. The castle lay to the east and was equally difficult to attack, sitting on top of a steep-sided hill with 50-foot high walls. In March of that year, Wellington laid siege to the city and placed his guns on the hills to the southwest of Badajoz. Today these hills have been heavily built over, but in 1812 they made an ideal location to fire down upon the city walls. He chose to make breaches in the Santa Maria and Trinidad bastions. Today these bastions seem idyllic, surrounded by gardens, but in 1812 these gardens made up the ditches which were part defences. On the far side of the ditch were the glacis, which were large mounds of earth designed to deflect the cannonballs over the walls. There is little evidence of these today, as they have been flattened out and built over. Close to the bullring is a small section that gives an idea of what they were like. 3 breaches were made in the walls. One in the Santa Maria bastion, one in the Trinidad bastion, and one in the wall between. On the night of the 6th of April, the order was given for the attack. 2 divisions charged the breaches, jumping down the 29-foot drop from the glacis into the ditch, and then running across 60 feet of open ground. This open ground is now a serene municipal garden, but that night it would have been a murderous environment covered by the defenders' cannon and muskets. Two escalades, or attacks with ladders, were to be made on the St. Vincent bastion, which was the bastion closest to the river, and on the castle. Both these escalades were intended to be diversionary attacks, but would turn out to be crucial in the outcome of the evening. The troops assaulting the castle had first to climb a near cliff face before placing their ladders at the foot of the castle walls, and would have also suffered from withering musket fire and burning carcasses. The defenders on the walls would also have been pushing the ladders away, but after several attempts, the British made the walls, and bitter hand-to-hand fighting ensued before the castle was finally taken. By far the most successful assault on the town came from the 5th Division at the St. Vincent bastion, which was relatively easily taken. The troops then fought their way through the town to take the breaches from the rear. At the breaches, the situation was desperate, and Wellington was considering withdrawing, but rallied the men for one last charge. This they bravely did, only to discover that the defenders having found out they were being attacked from the rear, had fled their positions. The fortress town of Badajoz had fallen, though the price was dear. For 2 hours, the troops had charged the breaches, and now over 2,000 men lay dead in the ditches in front of them. After the bitter fighting of the assault, the troops went mad, losing all discipline, and Badajoz was subjected to an orgy of looting, rape, and murder. Any officers that tried to stop it were themselves killed. It was a shameful episode in British military history, but maybe an understandable one given the horrors of the breaches.